I've been waiting for this moment my entire life.
And he looks good. He looks good too. Look at that.
Try.
Hey, where did you get that haircut? Aren't they like outlawed right now?
Hey man, don't ask questions you don't want answers to, buddy.
The Buschy and Bobo Show, a healthy scratch podcast. Here's your hosts, Kyle Busch and Brian Rager.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Episode 8, the Buschy and Bobo podcast, healthyscratch.ca. This might be our last podcast ever because we have a guest coming on. Who knows how it'll go?
That's it.
We'll introduce him later. It'll be fun to have him on because you had some guests. It's been a good time. So
yeah, nice little change, eh?
We hope everybody enjoyed the trade deadline as much as we did, as much as I did.
Yeah, it was pretty boring day, obviously, until the wee ends there, and
Stevie Y
just a fleece job. But
Mantha's been playing pretty well with Washington. He's been playing with Oshie and Backstrom power play. Obviously, he's going to score a lot. Did you see what happened with Vrana 2 nights ago?
Yeah, he got 4 goals.
4 goals.
Yeah, 4 goals. I saw. It's out of the time we're like absolute fleece job. It could be a win-win here. Like
it is
good for, it's something with Washington. Obviously, he said Mantha's going to put up more points playing with guys like Ovechkin, Backstrom, all those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, Detroit gets Vrana with a sweet tattoo.
I know. And he's been playing well because they have guys out. Like Larkin's out, Bertuzzi's out, Fabry's out. Like they don't have, so really he's the guy. I mean, he's been playing well. He's been doing now. The only thing
to sort of show that off too. Yeah. So
the only thing is he only fun stat last night. Detroit got outshot like 52 to like 13, lost 2-1 in overtime. Jacob Vrana, 2 days after, like the next game after scoring 4 goals, had the third least amount of ice time out of any Red Wings forward. Figure that one out.
Really,
Jeff Blashill, what are you doing? So just wanted to mention that. So there was a big thing that happened last week.
Yeah. Patrick Marleau passing Gordie Howe's record of 1,767 games played. So road game in Vegas, and Vegas did a whole nice thing on that, like just going out there, everyone shaking his hand afterwards and all that. But the one thing I didn't tell you this when I just mentioned Patrick Marleau was I was fishing yesterday, and then I get a phone call. I don't know what time it was. I'm like, who the hell's calling me? And it was Penrose. It was Penner. And he just calls. He's like, I need your thoughts on Patrick Marleau. I'm like, the guy's played 1768 games. Yeah. He's had a good career. But and then this is where I sort of want to see what you're saying. Penrose is saying he's a trash hockey player. He has no cups, no nothing. I'm like, and I disagreed. I said, he's not trash. He's not one of the greatest of all time. I said, he's a solid hockey player. Would I want him on my team as like that veteran? There's a reason why he's had such a long career. It's because he's a good career. Like doesn't have the cups, but he's been a loyal guy to San Jose. He's been on Team Canada. I say he's a good hockey player. He's not one of the greatest, but he's not trash.
So the question that a lot of people are asking right now,
where do you put him?
Hall of Famer?
Where do you put him in regards to, Hall of Famer and that tier of one of the greatest of all time, high-end Hall of Famer, just a Hall of Famer, average player, trash, Patrick Stefan.
Okay, I absolutely disagree with trash. This guy's played for that long. You're not trash if you're 42 playing in the NHL, still keeping
I agree.
Like there's no way. So, trash. I mean, that's actually, I think that's a little offensive to Patrick Marleau. I think he's in San Jose. He's in a small town market. You're not going to see him that much. When he went to Toronto, he played well. Imagine he's playing with Matthews and Marner, and he was good for that locker room. So the question, is he a Hall of Famer? He has 500. He has 562 goals. He has 1,200 points in 1,700 games.
Yeah, in 1,700 plus games.
That's pretty good. He's consistently like a 20-goal guy in his prime. The Joe Thornton years in San Jose, he was getting 40 goals, 30 goals, 38, 34. Actually, he got 50. Oh, that's in Seattle Thunderbirds. So I'd say, is he going to be like first ballot? He might get in first ballot because he has that record maybe, but I don't think that would hold enough weight. But it's very impressive that anybody in the league, you're not going to see that. You're not going to see this that much. Are you going to see someone break this guy's record?
I don't think so.
You might eventually, but it's so hard because you have to stay healthy. B, you have to have the talent. You have to have the drive. You get up there in age. I love this because he's obviously loves the game enough that he would leave San Jose, that he would go to somewhere like a hotbed like Toronto,
Pittsburgh.
You went to Toronto. It was like, dude, you're going to get crushed by media. You're going to get, but he went there because he wants to play. He wanted to win. Didn't work out. But San Jose was a powerhouse for as long as he's been there, really, again, with the Joe Thornton years and, Dan Boyle and Christian Ehrhoff and all these guys. Nabokov. Detroit always ran into these guys in the playoffs. They always got shit blasted by them, except for, I think, 2007. Detroit took them out in 2007. But they still had a really good team.
Yeah, they still had a Western powerhouse.
Right. And the only thing is, he was the captain for a while, then he wasn't. It's like
stripped, and then
who knows what he's like. He's obviously a nice dude. Everybody likes him. But maybe he wasn't super outspoken. Maybe he wasn't like captain material. Who knows? Or they just needed a change of pace. They needed somebody different.
My argument to him on the phone was, you're going to say he has no cups and all that. And I said, okay, what about Joe Thornton? He's doing a very similar thing right now, like Marleau. He's played in San Jose, then he's going to Toronto, and he's had no cups.
There's a ton of players in the Hall of Fame that don't have a Stanley Cup. And it has nothing to do with how good they are. So you can look at individual statistics. You could also dive into where they played and who they played for. And I mean, I don't know, a guy like Rick Nash played with Columbus when they were awful, scoring 40 goals a year. He's not a Hall of Famer, but he was a very good NHL player. He probably would have been a lot better somewhere else, which he obviously tried to do, maybe too little, too late.
In New York there. But so Patrick Marleau, Hall of Famer in your eyes.
Yep. Yes. He'll get in.
Trash
I don't know
player? When. No.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, he's a really good player.
Yeah, it's something. Like I said, I got the phone call yesterday, and I'm fishing, and then he's just like, Patrick Marleau is trash. And I saw him on Facebook on a few things. I'm like, the guy's not trash.
Okay. What is he now? 41, 42?
He's not going to be the Patrick Marleau of 20 years ago.
No, he's hanging on. And I will agree that right now, he's over the hill. He's going to be probably done after this year. You can tell just by the way that some of these players are I think he's probably done after this year.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
And if I'm San Jose, it's kind of like, okay, we kind of moved you once. Let's move on. You got your record. You retire as a Shark. You know, let's move on here because they're now going to be more in a rebuilding mode anyway. So I think you kind of have to.
There's no need for him to. He has nothing to prove. He has nothing left to prove to the game. If he wanted to get a cup, he probably could have asked to get traded at the deadline.
Right.
But it is.
So, we have something with the Red Wings and the Canucks. So I have an interesting thing to bring up here.
Yeah.
Okay. So widely regarded as one, and this is not being a homer, okay? One of the insane, best drafts of all time was, look at this guy with a salad flying all over the place.
Fire. So
one of the best of all time, 1989 NHL draft, the Detroit Red Wings. Okay. So just going through the list, I'm going to actually pull it up here. 1989, I'll say Red Wings draft. So I don't want you to look this up.
Okay, I was just gonna look up the
Don't look
89
it up.
draft. Okay.
Don't look it up, okay? So I'm actually just going to look it up. So I know just off the bat, like who got picked, but I want to see kind of where, okay? All right. In the first round, 11th overall, they took Mike Sillinger. Now, he played for a ton of – I think has the record for most NHL teams played for. He's played for a lot of them. So whenever we do our game where it's like one team and the other, I think we can never say Mike Sillinger. He's played for like all of them. He was a good NHLer. Bob Bugner, second round, went on to play in the NHL, and now he's a head coach.
He captained Calgary.
Dallas Drake, sixth round. He eventually came back, won a cup in 08 with them, okay? Now, some of the bigger ones, which why the hell are they not in this article? Okay, I'm just going to say they got Sergey Fedorov, okay? And I want to just make sure where he got picked here. Sergey Fedorov, 74th overall. Nick Lidstrom, 53rd overall. Vladimir Konstantinov, 221 overall. Okay? So that's 6 NHLers. Now, this was back when the draft was like 11 rounds long. Like Konstantinov was in like the 10th round or 11th round or something. That's a really, really good draft. You picked two Hall of Famers, right? In the third and fourth or second and third, fourth round, whatever. You got Konstantinov, in my opinion. Man, if there was a question on Twitter saying like, if there was one athlete that you could have a full career, oh my God, it's Vladdy for sure.
That would be a nice one, yeah, to see a full career.
He was a Norris Trophy finalist the last few years of his career. Like he was neck and neck with Lidstrom. He was like Lidstrom that hit people.
So I have a like, because you're just bringing up some like these like greats or great players. Was Detroit? And I don't know this. I don't know if you know. Was Detroit one of the first teams? Because I know they were always big in scouting in Europe and whatnot. Were they one of the first teams to go over there and like put a lot of scouting towards it?
An interesting book that I read was The Russian Five. I don't know if you've seen it or read it.
I've heard it. I haven't read it. It's
about Fedorov, Konstantinov, Fetisov, Larionov, Kozlov.
Yeah,
and how they all came over from Soviet Union at the time.
Yeah.
And you had the Iron Curtain, you had all the stuff where they had to defect. And some of these stories are insane.
I can only imagine what their families and stuff like. You're saying F you to your country, like,
and you're like 19 years old. You know what I mean? They had to like smuggle them out. I mean, there's some where it's like they almost got caught. Like it was nuts. But yeah, they were the first ones that would try to get them over because they were going, we need something. So that was why they got a lot of these guys and they drafted them going, if we get them over,
if we can get them over, it's
like Fedorov, the 89 draft. He's best player from that other than Lidstrom. He's the best player in that draft. And they said he probably would have. Yeah, he probably would have went first overall if he was from, say, Canada, Sweden, whatever. But because he was Russian,
there's that question, especially then there was the question mark on. No, it's one thing. Like, 'cause I knew Detroit, like with us growing up watching hockey and all that, like they've always had solid European talent come through.
Right.
So I didn't know if they were one of the first to do it. Especially with Russia and the CCP. Soviets
they did.
And all that. But
now that it leads me in because this is about another Russian guy in that same draft. Now, Fedorov, Lidstrom, Konstantinov, Sillinger, Bugner, and Drake, 6 NHLers.
Yep.
They could have had another Hall of Famer. Okay. And I think the 5th round, and actually I'm gonna look it up real quick because I have it up. Detroit wanted to draft a player, and I'll tell you who he is in a second. They ended up taking a guy named Sean McCosh, 5th round, okay? 95th overall. He never played an NHL game. He was just a bust, okay? They wanted to draft a player. They were told that he was ineligible for the draft, okay? So they moved on and said, okay, we'll take this McCosh guy. They found out like 6 picks later the NHL actually messed up. They're like, oh, wait, he actually is available.
Right.
Okay. Pavel Bure, man. He went to Vancouver in the 6th round. like 3 picks before Detroit actually took Dallas Drake.
Could you imagine
That's
Pavel
something.
Bure and Sergey Fedorov out there together?
And Steve Yzerman and Nick Lidstrom.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, dude. Like, that was something that I read. It was in Yzerman's the biography that the guy wrote about him a while ago, when he was still playing. But that was something where it was like, I read that and I'm like, are you serious?
The NHL did Detroit dirty. Like you got some guy that didn't play in the NHL to one of my favorite players.
It's bananas, dude. It's like so I just want to bring that up because I didn't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't know that. I knew there was issues with Bure. Like, is he eligible and all that stuff as well?
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know Detroit was ready to take him in.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They said he's ineligible. Like, holy crap. Like, that would never happen nowadays.
Can you imagine if that were to happen in today's thing? Like, you can't take, I don't know, I'm trying to not like a first overall guy,
right.
But
yeah, that's just something where back then you just didn't know, right?
You can't take Quinn Hughes and then freaking couple picks later, Quinn Hughes to, like, that's insane.
Yeah, nuts. So that's the draft. We love the draft. That was kind of maybe our, like, you know how you do the trade tree? That's maybe our trade tree interesting fact, right? So what we want to look at now, we did the 2010 draft a few episodes ago. We want to actually get into the 2009 draft.
Yeah, I know originally said we were going to go ahead of time, like go 2010, 2011, but 2009 was a nice draft.
Yeah, and so what we're going to do, we both have a chart here. We can kind of go. Do you want me to kind of say where they went in the mock draft? We use my NHL draft again. I like it.
Yeah, it's a nice site there.
So we're going to go through the mock. We're going to say who, like, my NHL draft said, this is where the guy's going to go and what position. And then Brian can actually tell you where he ended up and where he got picked.
Where the difference was, yeah.
And to see, who went where. And I mean, we did the thing where it was like adding and dropping. I don't really care about that too much, but I just want to see how off that was, right? So in 2009, my NHL draft actually went, I'll just say they went 5 for 5 in the top 5. So I'll just say the top 5 straight up. Tavares, first overall to the Islanders. Hedman, second to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Third was Duchesne to the Avalanche. Fourth, Evander Kane to the Atlanta Thrashers. And then fifth was Braden Shen to the LA Kings. They nailed those top 5. Where it gets interesting was sixth overall in the mock draft, the Phoenix Coyotes took Jared Cowan. Yeah,
and he actually just dropped 3 more spots down to Ottawa at 9 and there.
He never really made a name for himself in the league. 7th overall was Magnus Pierre-Svensson to the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, and Pierre, he's been one of those guys that's been sort of around the league a bit. I don't even know if he's playing now, but Edmonton took him, and that probably at 10, and that was probably why he just didn't turn out to be anything.
Yeah, it's something where you always had that potential, and it was just he never even scraped what he probably could have been. Number 8 is a guy that was on our top 25 trade deadline players. Dmitry Kulikov in the mock draft went 8th overall to the Dallas Stars.
And he went 14th. He dropped a little bit there. He went to Florida.
And he's still in the NHL, so probably a decent pick. Number 9 overall has the Ottawa Senators taking Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Hey, could you imagine if he would be there, like he actually fell at 9 in Ottawa? Probably things would be a lot different for Sens fans right now.
Oh, absolutely.
But this is like say Buschy said, they nailed the top 5. This is the first one that number 6, obviously Phoenix, Arizona now taking them and captaining up that squad.
Yeah. Rounding out the top 10, they had Zach Kassian going to the Edmonton Oilers, which is ironically where
full circle, right?
So
full
where
circle.
did he end up?
So he went to Buffalo at 13. Later on, got traded to Vancouver for Cody Hodgson a couple of years later. And
yourself on that one. We'll get to that one. 11th overall, it was Nazem Kadri going to the Nashville Predators.
But he ended up going to Toronto there at 7.
He went 7. Went a little bit higher.
Went up higher to 7, and obviously now in Colorado still.
Okay, we're going bust city here. 12th overall, it was the Islanders taking Jordan Schroeder.
Schroeder. It doesn't matter. You can just call him bust. Jordan bust because Vancouver took him at 22. And I actually, when they took him and like seeing him play in the AHL, I liked his game.
Exactly.
And I'm like,
Didn't
all right,
work out.
sweet. It's going to be good at 22. But then he was a bust. He's played in Minnesota a bit for it because he's from there. But
yeah, 13th overall is John Moore going to Buffalo Sabres.
Columbus ended up taking him a little later on at 21.
Ryan Ellis, 14th overall, Florida Panthers. He went a little higher.
Yeah, Nashville liked him at 11. Obviously still there. Pretty sure he's one of the
It's a good pick. Top three
alternates.
guys. Best beard.
Yeah, one of the best beards there. And obviously they didn't think his size was any issue.
Yeah. One guy that I mentioned was someone that I thought was going to be really good was David Rundblad, is 15th overall. They said he was going to go to the Anaheim Ducks.
But he around that area, 2 picks later
Yeah.
down in St. Louis at 17.
Never really panned out. Simone Dupre was 16th overall, Minnesota Wild.
Well, French people in Minnesota, it just doesn't go well together. So he ended up going at the end of the round there to Pittsburgh at 30.
Okay. This might be one of the biggest bust picks I've ever seen. In the mock draft was 17th overall, Scott Glennie to the St. Louis Blues, and he ended up going way higher than that.
He went up 9 spots higher to he was at a top 10 pick. He was in Dallas Dallas took him at 8th overall, and he only played in one NHL game,
one NHL game, and that was it. Never made it.
Yeah, so 17 looks a lot better than 8, but either way.
Going all the way down now, I can only see 2 players from here down that actually made an impact in the NHL. So here we'll go 18th overall, Louis LeBlanc.
Louis LeBlanc, and they ended up taking him at 18. Just they love their French guys.
Yeah, and Lou probably hates the fact that he sucked too. 19, I think it was Josephson. What's his first name? Don't even know. New York Rangers.
You went 1 pick later to the Devils at 20.
I will give the mock draft credit. They've got pretty close with some of these, so good for them.
Some of them, yeah.
20th overall was Carter Ashton, New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, he went a little bit later, still a first-round pick at 29 to Tampa Bay.
And he was part of that Dan Boyle 5th-round pick thing that turned into Andrei Vasilevsky at one point. So there you go, fun fact. Chris Kreider, that's the one guy that I saw that's still playing. He went 21st overall in the mock to the Blue Jackets.
Yeah, but he got picked actually 2 picks earlier, I should say, by the Rangers.
And he's still there, so good.
Yeah, he's still there, so.
Tim Erickson, 22 overall to Vancouver Canucks.
And he won a pick later, Calgary, because Vancouver was sweet and took Jordan Schrader. Calgary took him at 23.
Yeah, 23rd overall was Dylan Olsen, Calgary Flames.
Who Olsen fell 5 spots later to Chicago at 28.
And then we had Landon Ferraro going 24th overall, Washington Capitals.
Not even a first-round pick. He would be a first-round pick in the upcoming 32-team league, but he was 32nd overall pick, so second-round pick by Detroit.
Ray Ferraro's son. So there you go. He's playing in Germany now. He never really panned out. He played a little bit with Detroit, but not that much. 25th overall was Stephen Elliott going to the Boston Bruins.
Sort of fell almost another 25 spots, second-round pick by Colorado, so 49th overall.
26th overall, here's the other guy that actually has made impact in NHL is Calvin DeHaan. They had him going to the Anaheim Ducks at 26th overall.
But the Islanders said no, like 17 or 14 picks earlier. So he went 12th overall to the Islanders. And so that's, 2 picks in top 15?
It took him a long time to really kind of pan out, and now he's actually a pretty decent NHL defenseman where they probably thought he was going to be like a number 1 guy, but he's carved out a good career. One thing that really confused me was the guy at 27th overall, Carl Klingberg. I got confused because I'm thinking John Klingberg. This is his brother. He went in the mock draft 27th to the Carolina Hurricanes.
And you insisted that Dallas took him at but
I got real confused.
It was Atlanta taking him in the second round at 34th. John Klingberg went the next year, I should say, in 2010 to Dallas. But Carl Klingberg, second round pick, Atlanta.
And then we had 28th. I don't know, Caron, no idea. Chicago Blackhawks.
Boston took him a few picks
Jordan
earlier.
Jordan Caron. I think. Yeah. And then 29 was Peter Holland, Tampa Bay Lightning.
which Anaheim took him at 15.
Didn't really pan out. I think he ended up with the Leafs in like the fourth line. And then
Probably.
the last one, I forget his first name now. Buddish? Pittsburgh Penguins.
Oh, Zach
Buddish. Never played.
No, but he didn't even go in the top round. He went second round to Nashville, 41st overall. But still, ugh.
So interesting, the 2009 draft, in the My NHL Draft mock draft, they had 26 of the players in their mock draft in the first round actually went in the first round somewhere. The only 4 that ended up in the first round were 3 really good NHLers, one that didn't play. One was Nick Leddy going to the Minnesota Wild at 16. One was Marcus Johansson to the Capitals at 24. Kyle Palmieri, Anaheim Ducks at 26. And then the last one was Philip Paradis, went to the Carolina Hurricanes at 27. He never played in the NHL. When we go and look at the list of players that weren't in, the mock draft or in the first round, that actually carved out a really good, career for themselves. You want me to run through these quick? Or
first one is obviously just Ryan O'Reilly.
Right. Conn Smythe Trophy winner. Third overall to Colorado. Mike Hoffman went 130 to the Ottawa Senators. Yeah,
Tyson Barrie, 64th overall, Colorado. He's had a nice little career there.
Yeah, and Thomas Tuna Tatar, 60th overall to the Red Wings, so pretty good pick there too.
Yeah, there's a couple. There's like Riley Smith and Craig Smith, 69th and 98th overall. Some good careers there.
You got the captain of the Islanders, Anders Lee, 152 overall. He's still there. That's a really good pick by the Islanders. Actually, a couple of good ones. They got Tavares, they got Haan, they got Lee. That's pretty good. Yeah, and Casey Cizikas back at 92. So a lot of players that actually hit. There. Yeah, so good picks there.
Yeah, Jakob Silfverberg. I remember when Ottawa took him and then they traded him later on to Anaheim. There was like, oh my God, that's our future. So Ottawa took him at 39th. That wasn't too bad. And then Cody Eakin, he's had a pretty solid career. Like, I thought he was going to get traded at the deadline.
Yeah, I did too.
85th overall, third round pick by Washington.
Here's 3 guys that we had on our list: Ekholm 102 to the Predators, Vatanen 106 to the Ducks, and then Eric Holla was 182 to Minnesota. All 3 of those guys were on our list too, and like none of them moved except Vatanen on waivers, right? So
and another one on the trade one was David Savard.
Fourth
round pick there by Columbus, and obviously now in Tampa.
Pretty good value. Got a few picks for him. And then I'll just run through these real quick. The last one's Dmitry Kulikov, 55th overall to the Capitals. He's still there. Like I said, Cizikas, and then 2 goalies. So Robin Lehner, 46, went to Ottawa, and Darcy Kemper, 161 to Minnesota. So that's how the draft goes. Those were just a handful of guys that we saw that had value that maybe should have went higher. The only one that I see like really should have been the first round was like Ryan O'Reilly. But looking at the bottom half of that fifth, the first round, there was only 2 guys that made an impact. So if you take all of these guys who we just said, throw them in the first round, you got a lot of teams that are actually hitting on their picks. But this is how the draft goes. So we're going to probably do one eventually where it's just not even close. Like we had the one in the 2010 we did, the one guy went the 4th round. He was projected 26th. That Russian guy, I forget his name.
Oh yeah. What's his dick?
Yeah. So that's how it goes with the draft. But
it's hit and miss, right? It's a good gamble. You hope your scouts are doing their job and they can they do something there to help you guys out, and help your team and whatnot.
Right.
But
so we're going to continue to do those draft things. It's kind of fun to look at and figure out who went where. Switching gears, I don't really have a good segue for this.
Yeah, there is no real segue.
Yeah, I was trying to think of one. Draft, everybody's drafted.
Drafts include teams. Teams in the NHL include Detroit.
That have players that they've drafted.
And get hurt. And sometimes those players get hurt.
And they have injuries. Now, one of those guys.
What a segue.
We've heard. So Tyler Bertuzzi out for the year. I still don't know what's wrong with him. Upper body injury.
Yeah.
Out for the year. Another one that came in that we were like, whoa, Dylan Larkin, the captain, out for the year. So that kind of sucks for the Wings, but at the same time, it's going to hopefully improve your draft position. If last night's game was any indication, getting outshot 50-10. But the reason that he actually got hurt, and we never really knew, but there was in that 7-3 win against the Stars, Larkin had a face-off against Jamie Benn, who Jamie Benn's been not himself the last few years. He's on the decline, in my opinion. He used to be a really good power forward, but hey, he buried the OT winner against Detroit yesterday, so I guess he's still got something. But off the face-off, they got in a little bit of a quick scuffle, and Ben kind of just like cross-checked, like Larkin was kind of down, bent over, and he kind of got the cross-check right in the back of the neck. I'm assuming that's why Larkin's out for the year. With only like 7 or 8 games left, you might as well shut him down. There's nothing worth risking here. No. But it's something that I kind of looked at and went, they're looking at cross checks in the league right now, especially ones in front of the net, like defensemen on forward, things like that, stick work. So we actually do have a special guest coming up that has some reffing knowledge for sure. And we're going to pick his brain on what he thinks about the cross-checking situation. Here's our, we'll say Colorado Avalanche / referee expert, Dane Zinger Hollick. Welcome to the program, buddy.
So hey guys, thanks for having me on today.
We were talking about the NHL's cracking down on cross-checking. Now, if you don't know, Zinger used to be a referee extraordinaire. I only yelled at him like 6 times when I was coaching. That's about it. Okay, so we were talking about, Larkin actually got cross-checked in the back of the neck by Ben, out for the year. So, like, they're talking about in front of the net specifically, these big fucking defensemen are just, like, laying the lumber on the back of these guys. So it's one of those things where I wanted to know from you, like, obviously textbook cross-check, they either call it or they don't. Or do they have to change the rule because it's one of those things, well, how do you defend in front now?
Well, the game's changed so much in the last couple of years, but basically it should be a black and white. Like if referees are able to make that discretionary call, they have to put an end to that. If someone's getting cross-checked in front of the net, it's an automatic penalty. Mm-hmm. The problem's going to be when you're at that level, if you're falling down, you have to have a happy medium here, where if someone's just falling down to their knees or faking it, that guy's got to go too.
Yeah.
Right. So like the small jabs to the back to let them know you're there, I believe that should still be okay. However, the check to Larkin's a total different issue. That's a suspension. That's out for a while.
And no one really even saw that one. Like they announced yesterday he's out for the year, and we're like, what? And then someone tweeted like a 7-second video, like off a face-off. He was bent down and Ben just like right in the back of the head. I'm like, well, there it is. But so mostly I think it was for in front of the net because like it's pretty tough. I mean, probably Thomas Holmstrom's going like, holy shit, you're finally doing this? Like you couldn't have done this 15 years ago. Like that guy, he said he had more equipment on the back of him than on the front of him. Just because of that. But that's the thing is like with refereeing, and you know this better than anybody, most of it is discretion, right? Because it's all your interpretation of the rule based on what maybe the guy you're working with has a different view on it, right?
Well, they're trying to get away from that though, right? You have to remember they're trying to get away from the referees being able to use their discretion.
Right.
And making it black and white. So that's where in these cases, every time someone gets hit in front of the net, it should be a penalty if it's warranted. I mean, again, back to my original saying, if you're letting someone know you're there, that's fine. As soon as it's with full force to move them out of the way, it's a penalty.
And he just said, fuck you.
Yeah. OV's causing some problems.
Does not agree.
My mascot's making noise over there. I was going to tell him.
But they changed. Yeah, they changed the rule for Sean Avery. This is another one of those rules that they got to amend, right?
And that was honestly like, have you heard that whole story when he's told it? It's one of the funniest things ever. Yeah, because all you saw is him waving his hand in front. That was the big deal, right?
Yeah, his hand and then his stick. Just calling him.
He said he was on the ice with like Scott Gomez, Jaromir Jagr, Chris Drury, like all these legends, and he's like in front of the net in front of Marty Brodeur. And he's like, oh, I got to somehow like do something here, like stir it up, which he does. But what no one realizes is he fucking scored on that shift.
Absolutely.
He scored a power play goal. I never knew that. It's so funny. So anyway, but yeah, so that was the whole cross-check thing. Another thing that we brought up, and this is just like a few refereeing things just because we don't know anybody that knows shit except you. Okay, slashing, and this is another thing, black and white, and this is something that always pisses me off. And we talked about this already, but
Yeah, we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Month ago.
Stick on stick. In my opinion, you should be able to lay the lumber as hard as you fucking want. Because here's the thing. If you see a stick go on top of someone else and it breaks, it's immediately a slash. If you go over top of someone's stick and they drop it, it's a slash. But if you go stick on stick and nothing happens, it's not a penalty. Which is weird because I'm like, okay, so you're basically you're basing a penalty. I'm just going to drop my stick every time. Or you wouldn't see that when you had like wood sticks because they're not going to break. So that's a weird one too, where I'm like, okay, well, I mean, if you don't want that to happen, don't use composite. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. That's another weird one where we've went down the path on this one as well. And part of why they're trying to take that slash over the top and, come down on the stick is not necessarily just because of the infraction of the play. It's because back when we played, remember all those guys wearing those wrist guards and everything?
Oh yeah.
So they're trying to prevent, for sure. They're trying to prevent injuries as much as they're trying to prevent you from taking the puck away. So you have to remember the rules have changed to a sense where a penalty is now when you've impeded the ability for someone to make a hockey move. Mm-hmm. Similar to football, right? Where if you impede them in such a way that they can't make their move, it's penalty. Same as in hockey. So if you're hitting someone's stick and it's pushing the puck away, that's not a hockey play anymore, right? The hockey play is you get the puck, you body check, you take the puck. So I sit on the same page as you guys where I think, hey man, you want to get a guy's stick and pat the puck away, it should be allowed. The problem is you and I don't make that decision anymore.
Right. Well, in what I didn't think of that you just said is a good point is they're trying to prevent, okay, I just slashed the guy's hand off. I tried to go for the stick, but I got him right in the hand and now he's done. So I never really thought about that, but it's one of those things where I go, that's a risk, right? That you take Absolutely. As someone going for it. But because I just, it's one of those things where I go, well, what about a stick lift? Like it's the same movement. You could still technically break someone's stick on a stick lift. Is that a slash?
No, that's a high stick if you miss.
Oh, sure. Get them in the yap. Yeah. But like those are a few things. And then another one, and I don't know if you listened to the one we were talking about, the overtime rules. You remember, and I think we were at probably BP watching the first few 3-on-3s, like how crazy it was. It was like back and forth, like it was just breakaways, 2-on-0s. Like now, like 3-on-3 OTs become like
boring.
It's so boring. And I had an idea.
A soccer game.
Yeah, I had an idea to try to like somewhat speed it up or like to prevent you from regrouping. What I thought was if an attacking team is going into the zone in a 3-on-3, you can't bring that puck back out past the blue line or even the red line. Okay. So there are teams, and it's a smart play where it's like, okay, I have the puck. Those two guys are changing. I'm just going to curl back and wait for the other two guys to come on, but it just kills like 30 seconds. There's no flow. So it's like, if you have like an inverted offside where like, if you bring it out of the zone intentionally, you're getting a delay game penalty. If you do it and it's just like you make a pass and it hops over your stick, okay, it's almost like an icing. Puck back your end, face off, you can't change, they can. To prevent that like regroup, like I don't know as a ref how you would make those calls though, because like you were saying about black and white, that's not really black and white at all.
Then would you have to go then to reviews like what they're doing right now with offside stuff? So
yeah, that's an interesting one. I think the blue line's out of the picture. But I think the red line making an over and back rule. Once you're over that red line with the puck,
backcourt violation.
Like there's nothing wrong with that, right? That'd be easy to enforce. It's black and white. There will be discretionary calls where if the defenseman fumbles it, if it's a pass back to him. I mean, hey, in basketball, you make a bad pass, it goes over the line. It is what it is, right? Same would be true in hockey. I mean, you can't enforce this at minor hockey, but with the skill in the NHL and the guys playing 3-on-3 in the end, you enforce that.
And the interesting thing about it is if it is something where it's an intentional thing, like I just saw yesterday, like, it was like Phil, like he just turned back. He went all the way back in his own end. That would be, you're getting a delay game penalty. If it's kind of a screw up or like the puck hops over your or whatever, it's almost like an icing, like face off in your end. You can't change. That's like kind of a penalty, but like,
here, I'm going to blow your mind right now. You probably don't even know this rule exists. There's a rule and I forget the wording because I've been out of reffing for a while now, is when guys used to stand behind the bench and wait for people to change and everything, technically you're not allowed to do that by the rules.
Are you
You
serious?
always have to be advancing the puck. There's a rule right in the rule book that says you must advance the puck or it's delay of game.
That
Again, this rule
know.
might have changed, but I can guarantee you 3-4 years ago, this rule exists. I've never seen anybody call it, but it's there.
Well, that's the thing. There's probably so much in the rule book where you'd be like, what is that? Like, it's not even enforced, right? But I mean, they change stuff all the time. I mean, like that whole thing with the goal. Who's that goalie where they had a 2-on-0 and he just like pushed the net off because he'd rather take.
Oh, wasn't that in the A? That was in the A.
Yeah,
in the minors.
Is it Legio or something like that? Anyway,
just that fucking just pushed it off.
They had to change the rule because it's like great. That's actually smart on his part. I'm
Genius
not doing 2-1-0.
Right? There's rules in the rule book that there used to be goalies that would leave the crease obviously when he got pulled and put a stick across the goal line. So there's rules about that. There's rules and scenarios based on what people do, right?
Yeah. So that was like some interesting stuff. I was telling Brian, I was like, Zinger's got some pretty funny reffing stories. Like, tell the one. It was I think it was you were doing like Vipers or something, and there's those two kids jawing at each other. You were right in between them, and they just kept talking about going.
Yeah, good thing there wasn't a supervisor there for this game. It was obviously a 4-man crew and junior hockey, and this is back when fighting kind of just was starting to leave the game, probably 5-6 years ago. And two guys, I mean, I'm only like 5'9", I'm a small guy, and these guys are like 6'1", 6'2", and they're beaking at each other in between me as the linesman in this one. And they were beaking so hard, and they're both tough guys. I just back up and go, boys, if you're gonna start swinging, I ain't gonna be in the way. Go for it. And they both basically walked to the penalty box themselves and just strutted over there. They didn't do a thing. It was just like I just sat there and went like, "Oh my god!" When I was younger, playing junior and doing all that fun stuff, you didn't run your mouth because you were going to get popped in the face. Now guys just scream at each other.
Yeah,
it's easy to chirp when there's someone in between you. But
I remember that. Yeah, that was part of why I didn't play junior. It was 5'9". Nope, guys beaking off. See ya, I'm out. Yeah. I'll go play with my buddies back in high school.
And Bobo, here's a fun fact about Zinger that you didn't know. Did you know that Zinger played for the Kitchener Rangers?
I'm pretty
Never
sure.
Played for the Kitchener Rangers.
He went to camp though.
Pretty sure I've heard that.
Did you get a preseason game at least?
Not a chance.
Not a chance.
But do you have the jersey though?
They didn't let me take the red and white jersey home. No, the budget cuts, man. They couldn't. That was the 1 year.
Got farther than anyone here. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So we know you're technically an Avalanche guy, and I know we've talked about like they are in an absolutely awesome situation right now, and even like going forward. So, like what we have done with like 3 or 4 teams now, we go through their daily face-off, like their lines, their depth chart, and then you look at their cap hit and see like where are they going to be even next year, the year after. Like obviously they're in like awesome shape right now, but I'm actually going to pull it up.
We got a good 3 years.
Yeah. So here, if I can get this up, I'll go with their lines right now. So the interesting thing about the lineup is they do have some injuries here, if you can see those. So, like, Francouz, he's been out for a long time, but, like, Rantanen, Calvert, Johnson, Donskoy, Byram, like, 5 regulars. So, keeping that in mind.
Big names.
Yeah, keeping that in mind, if this would load. And go up to their top here. Forward lines. Okay. Have you ever seen this daily face-off stuff, Zinger?
I looked at it. Yeah, back when I was in the fantasy league and paying attention, I used to check some stuff out, but I mean, it's a good website. It's one of the better ones.
Does Bobo get relegated next year for being like so bad?
I don't know if he gets relegated. I should get relegated too.
Horrendous. Okay, so this top
Absolute
line,
dog ass.
This top line is like just titties, like Landeskog, McKinnon, Burakovsky. So I kind of want to figure out how they get the numbers, how they get the rating, but that's the number 3 top line in the league. So that's really good.
Yeah.
Going to the second line, they just picked up Soderberg at the deadline. Kadri, Comfer, and then you got Saad, Jost, Nichushkin, and then I don't know who Liam O'Brien is, but Bellemare and Martin Kaut, he was a first rounder a few years ago too. So like they have a really solid lineup, and then like you said, you add in Rantanen, you add in who else did we say that was out on up front? Donskoy, yeah. So you have tons of depth. I mean, that's like these. I like those lines if you add in those guys, especially Rantanen. Are you kidding me?
And guess what? They have cap space.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about what they're going to be looking like next year. I think they're going to be even better. So I don't know. What do you think? Like, is there anybody in here where you're like, not so much?
I don't think there's anybody on this team that wouldn't make another team. That's how good they are. Even down to like Leo O'Brien's not really a name many people know, but he's a good fourth line player that could work his way through, right?
Yeah.
But even their defensemen, like Connor Timmins is,
dude.
If he was on any other team, he'd probably be a steady in the lineup.
Their defense is incredible. Like Sam Girard, actually, you were mad that I picked him in fantasy because he's incredible this year. Even like Ryan Graves, Cale Makar is like otherworld, man. Like the way the guy skates. Like, have you seen him walk a blue line? He's like from the boards to the middle, just quick, and then he's just ripping a shot. It's like, what the fuck?
His goal the other night was nice,
insane. And then Devon Taves, like when they traded for him, I was like, that's an awesome trade because that kid is good too. You know, Timmins, young guy. They traded for Nemeth from the Red Wings, so they brought him back. He's already been there. But then you add a guy like Bowen Byram, young guy. Like they have a young D core. They don't really have like. Maybe that's why they got Nemeth as like a veteran presence.
Well, Eric
he's
Johnson,
their oldest defenseman,
Johnson, right?
Yeah, Johnson too. He's out. He's out for the year, I think, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, John. Yeah, he's out.
Yeah, and then even like goaltending. I mean, like Grubauer, and they picked up Dubnyk too.
Dubnyk was I like that pickup.
Yeah,
but you know what though? They're still if you're going to go through their roster, their goaltending, in my opinion, is their weakest.
Yeah, I mean, Grubauer. I mean, he's been pretty good. He does have a good team in front of him. I mean, that might be the Chris Osgood effect.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying is I don't think either one of them are an all-star goalie.
Yeah, and that's why they picked up Dubnyk. I mean, I know that he's not what he was, but I mean,
he's a good vet. Yeah, he's a vet that has experience, right?
Because who did they have before them?
Well, they had what's his name? No, before him, he was a really good goalie. They traded. They had Anderson a couple years back.
Yep.
Then he left, but there was a guy in between them. He got arrested for something back home in Russia. Russian goalie. What's his name? Thank you. That's it. They had Varlamov. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the only thing. Maybe if you had to knock, it's the goaltending.
It's the goaltending, but I think, like I said, they going in for the playoffs, bringing in a vet like Doobie there to
and scroll down to that. I believe it's the last year of his contract.
Yeah, they're all up. They're all up.
Yeah.
So this is what me and Brian like to do is we look at these and it's like, first of all, you look at the lines and go, okay, I like my talent. Like maybe we need a goalie, but looking forward, and Zinger's talked about this, like Nathan McKinnon makes 6.3. He's the best player in the league.
Perfect.
He should be making double that. And
he might be.
He might be soon, but so trying to project like where these guys are going to be, talk about cap space. Like right now up here, it says they have 3.6. That's just for now, but going into the year, into the off season, there's guys where like, hey, Landeskog, your captain, 5.5.
Probably get that.
He's going to get a raise.
$7 million.
I was going to guess between 7 and 8. Yep.
And 8 might be high, honestly, for him. But like I try to get him for 7, and he's 28. So get him on like a 4 or 5 year, right? Like keep him around. Whatever you have to do to keep him around, you do it, because I'm looking at their window right now. It seems like it's going to be a long time, but in reality, I think it's like the next 2 seasons, like this year, next year, and the year after. Because I'm looking
at 3 years.
I'm looking at McKinnon because he's gonna make a ton of money. But here's what you do. I think you bring back Landeskog. You say bye to Brandon Saad, $5 million off the books. See you later. You're keeping. You got Burakovsky, Kadri, Donskoy, Compher, and Nichushkin, all on decent contracts. They're coming back. Bellemare, whatever, Soderberg, see you later. Tyson Joe still get like a little bit of a bump probably, but
you know what? They might not. They might go to arbitration, and with him, I bet he's only worth $1.5 million, maybe.
Yep, and that's not going to break the bank, because I'm looking at, okay, you're taking 5 away from Saad. You're taking 1.8 here, 1 here.
$1 million, there.
And I mean, dude, look at their defense. This is insane. So like, look at Girard. He signed for $5 million for like forever. He's 22. Like that's what you do, because if you would have signed at the end of this year, He's going to make 8.
That's bumping up there.
So Joe Sakic, like, holy crap. Taves, that's a good deal. Graves, good.
McCarr's in the 10s though, boys. That's part of the problem here.
McCarr, and that's the thing is you're going to have to bridge him. They're going to have to give him like 3 years at 5 or 6 or something. And then he's going to get paid.
I know in arbitration he'll get more than that.
I don't think he has arbitration rights yet though.
Oh, you're right.
He's coming off entry level.
Entry level, yeah.
Go on that I believe that'll tell you.
Waivers exempt. It's there's got to be a way to look that up. Actually, let me click on them. But yeah, I think off your entry level deal, I don't think you have arbitration rights until a certain amount of time.
There you go. Arbitration, 1 additional pro year required. So he doesn't have
the year after.
Get it next year.
So if I'm him, I'm probably like, give me a 1 year deal. You know what I mean? And if I'm Sakic, I'm going, I'm giving you 2 or 3, buddy. So,
well, a 2 year deal still keeps him as a RFA, right?
If I'm Sakic, you try and get him here for 8 years, really, technically, but he's going to want a shitload. So if you work in your window of like, I want to be good for like the next 3 years for sure until I have to re-sign McKinnon, maybe you try to do the bridge of like 2 years, right? Or 3 years, but you don't want him going up at the same time as McKinnon either. So like they're going to have an issue with that, but you have to keep him around for sure. Even like Connor Timmins, like 22 years old. They have so many nice young defensemen that are in that like mid to late 20 range.
You still have
go back up to their draft picks too.
Is until 22, 23.
Yeah. Now they still have all their first rounders. I mean, they made some trades, right? So like they only have 3 picks this year, but like who cares, honestly?
They got enough in the bank.
Yeah, like in looking at if there was any type of shuffle that you wanted to maybe move guys this year, you look at these middle guys like Burakovsky, Kadri, Donskoy, Comfer. Those are guys that if you wanted to like shake things up, those are tradable contracts. They're good players. So if they don't get it done this year, or they want to like switch gears and try to do something, move a guy for a pick, replenish some of that, get some cap space, they could always do that too. Like hell, I mean, if I'm the Wings, I probably wouldn't take any of those guys. They're too old for their core. But if you're a team that's looking for someone, and they can retool.
When's Johnson's contract up? Where is
22, 23.
Down. Yeah, so he's still $6 million. He's a tradable guy too.
Yeah, he's only 33, man. I thought he was like 38.
He seems like he's been in the league forever.
Only thing is he's got the no movement. So that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
He's got modified. 19 teams he can be traded to. That's not bad, though. He can work with that. Yeah, I don't know, because that's another thing, too, where, that's $6 million that you can kind of go, all right, I could move this somehow. I mean, someone might take
that's not counted towards the cap right now, though.
No.
Right. So now you bring him back. You got Kale at 10. You don't have that much cap space.
Right. So but the thing is they have dude, Joe Sakic. I don't know what it is. Like, I think Sakic and Yzerman have dirt on all the GMs in the league. Is like, I don't know where the hell they learned this from. They were just like awesome NHLers, and now they're just incredible GMs too. Like, what the hell?
Taking the rivalry to the front office.
And then you got Vancouver with Fat Jim Benning, and it's like this guy worked at a fucking KFC his whole life, probably.
Fucking, he just drinks gravy.
So I don't know, man. They got a good squad here. Like, I don't know. What would you add here if you could? Like,
I think they need to upgrade Kadri. In all honesty, I think they need one more top line center that's a natural center.
That would be, and then you could even maybe move him to the wing, or maybe that's something where you go, okay, I'm going to make a trade in the offseason. I'm going to trade Kadri and something to get, some centerman that's out there, or get a top guy. Because like, I wish there was a way that you could actually go on Daily Faceoff and just click where like, if there was no injuries, what it would look like. Because I'm just looking at it going, okay, Soderberg, I'm going to put Ranton in there. Now that easily that top 6 is incredible just with that. And then you got like Saad is on the third line. Who else is hurt here? Calvert too. Like Calvert and Donskoy aren't slouches either. Like they're good NHLers. No. They're top 9s, man. So like you basically take away that bottom 4 and add Rantanen, Donskoy, Calvert.
Yeah.
Holy God, when they're healthy, man, like that's a scary team. But again, like
they're almost unbeatable.
Goaltending, that's the only thing.
That's the one thing you would have to.
I don't think disagree with me if you want, but I think the NHL is going away where you don't need to pay for a goalie.
They're becoming the running back of the hockey world.
Just build your defense, score goals, and just have a guy that's okay. And that's like, again, I think that's kind of what the Red Wings did in 08. They had like Chris Osgood's not that good. They had a really good team around him. So maybe this is it. You got Grubauer, you got Dubnyk. They're good enough to get the job done. You're going to win 4-3.
Well, I think you're letting Grubauer go, and Francois is your number one next year.
Right. Then maybe they get a guy. I don't even know who the free agent would be, but that would be pretty good. So, yeah, usually that's what we do. We kind of break down, like, way forward's pretty simple for them. It's just keep fucking winning, man.
And this is the first one we've done, like you said, after trade deadline too, right? Before it's okay, who are we going to get at deadline? And
yeah. Well, they didn't do a ton. They got, like I said, they got Soderberg back and they got Dubnyk. So they did two small things, which I don't think they needed to do anything too crazy. No, they did exactly what they needed to do. So, anyway.
Yeah, they didn't have to move much.
Zing, what else you got? Anything fun for us? Any thoughts on your mind?
Oh, not much other than I think last time we spoke, we were going to talk about our fantasy hockey league and what we had to do this year to maintain sanity in the league.
Yeah, I still don't understand because, like, Brian's team, if you look at the players
on paper,
it looks really good, and he was just horrible. Like, I don't get. Hey, who won, by the way? Is it done yet?
I have no idea.
I think it's Kurt and Sven.
Sven was texting me and making sure he knew who paid and what the buyouts were and all that. And luckily, 4 months ago, I kept record of it because I had no idea. After about the third week, I had no idea what was going on.
I'm actually, yeah, I know. I can tell. Playoffs. All right, let's see. Finals. Oh, yeah. Kurt's going to win. Oh, he's up 8-2.
It ends today. Doesn't it end tonight?
Yeah. Hey, Kurt Angle. Fun story about him. He was actually, like, when we did our what was that called, Brian? The checking line radio.
The podcasting before podcasting.
The only guest that we ever had on that thing was Kurt, and it was probably the best one we ever did, just because there was three of us, and it was just like it was the one time where we all disagreed about everything we were talking about, which made it kind of fun.
That's perfect, though,
dude. When you agree about too much, it's like boring, man.
Yeah. No, fuck
Brian,
you.
I think your toque looks stupid.
Fuck you.
It was cold this morning. Now it's running about 65.
I got the windows open.
It's either the toque or this ugly ass lettuce.
Man, I know what place you can get a haircut.
Just take the weed off.
Holocaust. No, that's actually Zinger. I'm not even gonna lie to you. When I saw him take that hat off the first time,
I had it like.
Yeah, I was down. I pictured you at Blue.
You're at Blue Mountain. Talk about how good my hair was at Blue.
He was rocking the Gardner Minshew. Remember that?
That was good.
Fun. That was a good one. You got to grow it back out. Although you do look pretty good there.
No, I just cut it. I cut it about 3 weeks ago.
It's like you got a spray tan.
That's why I'm wearing a hat right now. I don't want to do my hair to look good for you guys.
Man, it's golf season, Brian. I'm outside all the time until the government told me that it's very dangerous.
It's so dangerous to golf.
Being outside, yeah, it's pretty dangerous.
Fishing's fine. Golf, no.
Oh no, you can only fish as long as you guys live together. So I lived with a lot of people when I went on that fishing boat the other day.
There you go. There's workarounds. Anyways, Zing, hey, it's nice to have you on, guy. We're gonna have to have him on again when we see some other controversial stuff and get his opinion. We'll have to get him all warmed up. He agreed with us way too much today.
Oh, I can disagree if you like, but what fun is that? I think you should let cross-check and go full bore all game.
Hey, that's the thing is, like, I said to Brian, I'm like, we should do it. And just if I bring something up, just immediately disagree with me, even if you actually agree with me.
No, I do that on Facebook. I don't really do that in real life.
Yeah, you do actually. I was kind of I was like, okay, are we getting legit Zinger today or are we getting Facebook Zinger? I think we got legit Zinger here.
Oh, legit Zinger today.
It would be kind of fun to get Facebook Zinger in here at one point just to screw with us and see if we can figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Kirsty, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, buddy. Hey, yeah, we'll have to have you back on at one point. But Dane Hollick, ladies and gentlemen, with the guest spot today. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
All right, boys. You guys have a great day.
So I want to thank Zinger for coming on the show. We got a bunch of guests. It's kind of fun to have more people on than just us clowns. But
especially a Kitchener Rangers camp invite.
Alumni. Kitchener Ranger alumni.
Alumni.
Made it farther than any of us, so like we can chirp, but he actually got invited to a camp. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So moving forward, Brian topic now.
Yeah. Vancouver finally playing hockey again. First time since they played 4 games now since the first time since March 24th. So little bit of a break, and in those they've played 4 games. They've been 3-1, which is surprising. I thought they were going to be very rusty. Obviously, still out with a couple guys like Pedersen still out, and will he ever come back? Probably not.
Well, with COVID, that's why, right? I mean, who knows how they're going to play?
Yeah, with everyone dying from COVID, and but yeah, it's they took all the precautionaries necessary. As I said, 3-1 now, with the one loss being to Ottawa in a horrible game. I think it was 3-0 to Ottawa, the loss. But that's a 4-2 win there. Yeah, it was a 3-0 loss. They played the Leafs and the Senators, beating the Leafs both times, like an overtime 3-2, 6-3. Beating Ottawa 4-2, but then losing 3-0. The one thing that surprises me, though, is the goaltending. The 3 wins have come via Braden Holtby, a guy I absolutely just chirped a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And Demko probably one. I forget if you just let the one or whatever, but Demko getting the loss to Ottawa. So, yeah, Vancouver, and now they had those games in hand. I know before we were talking, like, hey, is it possible that they can catch Montreal for that last spot in the division?
I'm looking at it right now, and I think mathematically, so Montreal has 46 games played, they have 49 points. Calgary has 47 games played, they have 45 points. Okay, Vancouver is only at 41 games, 41 points. So yeah, I mean, if you look at it and go, okay, if they won all of those games,
so
that's
games,
10 points. They're ahead of Montreal.
Yeah.
That's assuming you win all of them.
Exactly.
If you win half of them, you're right there. So that's a tall order for the Canucks. If they end up pulling this off, because Montreal's faltering right now, they're like calling up Cole Caulfield because they think he's going to help their flawed team. Like Vancouver, like as bad as it's been, as bad as the year's been, they still somehow have a shot at this.
They have a shot. Maybe it's getting hot at the right time. Like they didn't do anything big at deadline. Like they got Madison Bowie and
got rid of Ben.
Yeah,
it
wasn't anything big. Like it wasn't a big deadline, but I don't know. It's like I said, it's nice to see a couple wins there, like 3 wins out of the 4 games coming back and seeing some success. And I'm not expecting the playoffs, but you know what? If we at least make it interesting.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where it's like kind of if you get in, you're playing the Leafs. Who gives them a better shot? Who gives them a better battle, the Canadians or the Canucks?
I say going off the last 2 games.
Going off the last 2, yeah, but I mean
throughout the year, it's I don't know. I think Vancouver, Toronto would be interesting just because flying back and forth, it's going to take its toll on both teams. But
yeah, that would be an interesting matchup too. It's so hard to predict all these things. Like the last thing I want to do is like a playoff prediction thing. We'll probably do it because
we'll probably do it.
But we don't know shit. I mean, we don't know anything, and it would be interesting to see it. I mean, everybody would be like, "Oh, Toronto's going to whitewash these guys," but it's a playoffs, man.
But then I would love to see Toronto get eliminated first round.
Yeah,
and
I mean, and the thing is like Vancouver's doing this without their best player.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, Pedersen's been out for a long time. And I mean, whenever he comes back, if he's what he was, I mean, they'll need him soon. That would be kind of nice if they got him soon.
Yeah, at least especially if they're near that playoff push or like in that hunt, they're gonna want to have him for that and for the playoffs. And they said he only makes them better. But I think if they did come down to it, it's going to come down to the big thing will be goaltending.
Yeah.
goaltending, like the Toronto tried to improve theirs, obviously with Riddick, and who knows, is Freddie Anderson back? I don't know for Toronto, but goaltending seems to be the way of for playoffs, which leads into I guess another thing we have here.
Yeah, we just saw it. I just saw it today.
I saw it last night. Henderson Silver Knights, so the AHL team for AHL affiliate of Vegas, they went down a goaltender. They needed an e-bug there, an emergency backup goalie, and they end up having their goalie coach, NHL alumni, Freddie Brathwaite.
Yeah, it was pretty cool because he's 48 years old, and the thing that's really cool about it is in the picture that I can kind of show here, and I'll zoom in on it. So for anybody that can't see this, it's Fred Brathwaite. I mean, their jerseys are pretty cool. I mean, they look like the Golden Knights. Yeah. But it's one of those things where he's an older dude. He played in the NHL for a long time.
Yeah, he played for a bunch of teams, right? He played
Do you see that mask? You know
what's
on
Atlanta?
there?
Is that an Atlanta Thrashers mask?
That is an Atlanta Thrashers mask because the last team I think he played for, if you want to look that up, was the Atlanta Thrashers. So it's probably the last goalie helmet that he's had, and he just had it. And like,
just doesn't have a white bucket or something. But either way, I prefer him wearing a Thrasher. So
look that up, and then I got a fun stat about this.
And yeah, go right ahead with your stat here. And Freddie Brathwaite.
So first, like he played in a league for a long time, right? He was never anything like amazing, but I remember he played for like Calgary and
NHL. He's played 254 NHL games. He's 81, 99, and 37. So nothing crazy. His save percentage actually 901 save percentage.
Probably back in the day that wasn't that good. Now it is, but I think Columbus? Did he play Columbus? He was Blue Jacket.
He played a year for Thrashers. Columbus, St. Louis, Calgary, Edmonton.
Oh, he was in a music video too. Wearing a St. Louis Blues jersey. Oh shoot, what was it? Let me look it up.
Like I see a picture of him in an Atlanta jersey, but it doesn't say he played in any for the Thrashers.
I mean, I have the picture of him right here. He literally has a picture with it.
Yeah, like I saw that picture, but I don't see him actually playing for them.
So here's the interesting thing. He
played in the Dell.
He is now technically because he dressed for like the oldest active technically Atlanta Thrashers player that was with the franchise.
That's cool.
Okay, here is the craziest stat. He only beat that record by a few months.
Really? Who's the oldest Thrasher?
Don't look it up. I want to see if you can get it.
Oldest Thrasher. Not Ray Ferraro.
No.
Chris Chelios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the craziest thing is he only beat out Chelios by 6.5 weeks.
Jeez.
Because Chelly was like 47 almost when he retired. And technically, he only went to the Thrashers organization to play in Chicago with the Wolves. Because he's from Chicago. He wanted to play in the AHL, but he got called up for, I think, like 7 games.
Couple games there.
So, like...
That's the only reason I got Chelly's, because I remember, the Chicago Wolves saying, hey, Chelly, hit the tanning bed.
That wasn't Chicago Wolves.
No, that was Motor City Mechanics.
Yeah. Yeah.
And actually, you know what? I just going this whole thing of e-bugs. There was another one last night, too, for Ottawa.
Oh, yeah? Okay. I didn't hear about this.
Anisimov.
Wait, what? Are you serious?
Yep, that's his.
So wait, was he like a healthy scratch as a player?
I have no clue. Somehow,
because he got waived this year.
Somehow he ended up last night being the e-bug. That's him on his Insta last night.
What the hell?
Yeah, so he dressed as the emergency goalie last night for Ottawa. Because which makes sense. Because let me go to the game last night.
I'm pretty sure Nisimov's been a healthy scratch for a while.
Let me go because they played the Canucks. Canucks versus Sens, because I think Murray started the game and he got hurt. Yeah, Matt Murray started the game, I believe, and then Marcus Holberg came in.
Mm-hmm.
And since they needed to have a backup, Anisimov was.
I just want to know if he was dressed as a player. I don't think he was then.
No, I'm looking like
He's
at
probably
their starters. Yeah, probably scratched. He had to be scratched, right? Because you'd have to switch a number too.
Yeah, you're right. Well, that's interesting. Definitely interesting fact there. But...
Yeah, so I remember seeing that this morning too, and I totally forgot like before we did it. So when we were just going through e-bugs, I'm like,
yeah,
there was another one last night. Yeah.
So that's cool. I mean, so another episode in the books. That's 8 so far. We're gonna hit double digits pretty soon, right?
Double digits. We're gonna have an anniversary.
Yeah. So again, we want to thank Zinger for coming on.
Yeah, thanks to Zinger. Thanks to you guys who are listening.
Yeah. So healthyscratch.ca, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. I think that's pretty much all of our stuff. And our YouTube. Yeah. So until the next time, it's Buschy and Bobo show, healthyscratch.ca. Hey, enjoy this when you're listening to this on the way to work tomorrow.
I work from home.
Love it. All right, boys.
Take
Talk to you later. See ya.
Cheers.